What is going down, sourdough squad? How are my SDSs doing today on this beautiful Monday? I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. It's not like anything went down over the weekend, was it? Maybe something happened. Some news break this weekend. I don't know. Maybe someone broke some news and decided to shatter the NFL world there just a little bit. If you got, but how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Shout out to SDS. Drop a SDS in the chat. You're vibing with your boy. We see all the bread gang. Let's go. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend. You know, we found out the GOAT Frank Gore is calling it quits after an amazing career. Frank Gore is finally wrapping it up. So, what we're going to do is we are going to be talking about number 21. We'll, of course, open it up for potential draft talk at the end, but we do want to give some love to the tank 100%. So sad, it's a sad moment because I was a big fan of, one last ride. Let's get Frank onto the practice squad. Let's figure out how to just get him a carry or two, especially on a run. But of course, it does not look like that will happen. But Frank Gore has given us plenty of memories, and we do appreciate Frank, what he's done, and what he will continue to do, because from the sounds of it, does sound like Frank Gore will want to be with the 49ers front office. So I'll tell the quick story about kind of how the news broke, because obviously, the SF Niners, my brand, has been credited for kind of breaking the story. But, it all goes back. It all started at the State of the Franchise episode last Thursday with Jason Aponte. So right as Jason and Aponte and I hopped on here to do our State of the Franchise episode, so did Frank Gore. Frank Gore, I got a notification on Instagram that he was going live with Bovada, but I was live, so it wasn't like I could listen in or hear any of that. So what did I do while we were doing our live? I had his up and I was recording it with the volume down pretty low. And the reason why, and that was on Thursday, and the reason the news dropped on Saturday is because I was still working through the live that I had recorded, and I was pulling content out of it. And I got to this one part of the live where, hey, Frank Gore says, "You know what? I'm retiring. I'm getting it. I'm going to, put up the cleats, and I would like to move into the front office." And so, as you guys saw, we posted that on Saturday, and it was out there. No one reported on it. No one said nothing about it. So we posted it on Saturday, and as you know, it has become officially official. Frank Gore will be retiring, and he does plan to potentially move into the 49ers front office. So that would be a cool situation to see. Frank Gore clearly considers himself San Francisco 49er through in and throughout. And to have him in the building in any capacity, and if that is as a talent evaluator, hell yeah. Let's freaking do it. But speaking of Frank Gore, that his career now comes to an end. Does Frank Gore, does he become a top 5 San Francisco 49er of all time? I want to see what you guys have to say because we did a poll on it for YouTube as well, and I'll pull up the um, results so far. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Is Frank Gore an all-time 49er? Drop it in the chat. Top 5 all-time San Francisco 49er. I do want to see what you guys have to say. So Cap says absolutely. Keith says Frank Gore will be Parag's assistant to get that money right. Buck says hell yeah, he's a top 5. Damn Skippy's top 5, says Sergeant Bubbly. Richard says, oh yeah. James says first ballot Hall of Famer, top 5 Niner all time. Javier says best running back for sure for the Niners. 100% top 5. SoCal says Frank the Tank is top 5 all-time 49ers. It is in his blood. 100%. Oh, and if you even have the rankings and you want to drop top 5 rankings, let's see what you got. Jason dropped the first one. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Frank Gore, Joe Staley. Ooh, I like that list. Now you can go. I feel like we would all agree Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young probably holding top 3 without too much debate. It would be interesting to see what the debate looks like for the last 2 because I think you could. The 49ers are one of the most storied franchises in all of sport. I believe they have the most retired numbers out of any team. Legends. This is a team of legends. So it's a hard list to come up with. Hendrick says, damn, I just saw the poll. Either we got some new young fans that don't remember or they're just disrespecting. And that's a great opportunity to bring up the poll. Let's see what the poll is saying here for the 49ers. So as you can see, we brought up the poll. We asked, is Frank Gore a top 5 all-time 49ers player? 52% said without a doubt, 100%. Not even a thought process. 17%, and again, this is 42,000 people have voted on this poll, so that's a pretty good sample size, if you ask me. Getting 42,000 people to put their take on this, and the cool thing about this poll is it goes to other people that are more than just 49ers fans. It goes to a bunch of different people outside this account. So 52% saying 100%, not. 17% say it's close, but he's still top 5, meaning probably kind of rounding out the top 5, potentially 5th overall, 4th overall, how you want to look at it. 13% of people said not top 5. And then another 18% said no, but top 10. Ooh! Oh boy. That's a good percentage, especially when you look at 42,000 votes on a poll. That's a good amount of people who might challenge that. But it was funny. As you guys know, Eric Davis, former 49ers cornerback, Super Bowl champion, all-pro cornerback, Pro Bowler for the 49ers. He was actually on Instagram Live today. And again, who better to ask than a guy who's been on the team, who's been in the league, he's covered the league, and is an all-pro himself with the red and gold. And I asked him straight up, I said, is Frank Gore a top 5 49er of all time? And he snarkily said, of course. Like, of course Frank Gore is a top 5 49er of all time. When you look at his statistical output of Frank Gore being the 3rd leading rusher in the entire NFL on a team like the San Francisco 49ers, when he's clearly the best running back of the San Francisco 49ers storied franchise. not only is he the number one running back to ever play for the San Francisco 49ers, but he's number 3 in rushing yards in the entire NFL history. And so he's like, yeah, no brainer. Frank Gore is a top 5. And I thought that was pretty interesting insight. Again, from Eric Davis, former all pro cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers. He didn't mince words about it. He said, no question. No question. Frank Gore is the top 5 guy. And again, he went on to further to kind of conceptualize why. You have to think about Frank Gore put up a lot of that production on historically bad teams, like really bad San Francisco 49er offenses, like again, bad. So Frank Gore was the consistent, he was the train that just kept, he was the tank that just kept on moving in that time, especially during some of those down years for the San Francisco 49ers. He was one who would continue to produce and churn out yards regardless of the team and how it was built around him. Because as you guys know, there are some really bad 49ers teams that Frank Gore played for. And when they had no quarterbacks, no running backs, no wide receivers, it was basically Frank Gore and like Joe Staley. That was it. So, again, I thought that was interesting perspective from a guy who's played in this league, a guy who's close to the San Francisco 49ers, is considers himself a 49er, and has played at the highest level. So that's what ED had to say. And so back to you guys. I can see how you can make the argument. I could definitely see how you can make the argument for other players. Again, thinking of all the greats that have played for the 49ers, just like how do you quantify Charles Haley? How do you quantify Jesse Sapolu? How do you quantify, Terrell Owens? How do you quantify, Patrick Willis, Joe Staley, Navarro Bowman, Justin Smith? We all know Aldon Smith is probably creeping up towards top 5 consideration if he could stay on the field. But my goodness, I think, if you take a step back and again, you look, Ronnie Lott, exactly. You look at the amazing 49ers that have come through the doors. There's so many you can pick from, but I think the way Frank did it and went about his business, the way everyone talks about Frank Gore, the way they talk about him as a football player, as a teammate, because, when you start talking to these old school football players or you talk to any football player, the guy matters. We focus so much on the statistical output. We focus so much on where do they rank. A lot of these football players, they also carry in high regard the type of person to go out and put up that statistical output at an extremely high level. We know you can look at Terrell Owens and you can see, yeah, Terrell Owens was phenomenal. Terrell Owens was arguably, top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, but it took Terrell Owens a long time to get in the Hall of Fame because no one likes his attitude. Now, does that matter? Like a lot of people will argue, does that matter? But I think it's clear as day. It matters at a certain point, a little bit about the type of person you were when you were playing and how you played the game. That does matter. So overall, like I said, you can make the argument he's top 10. You can make the argument he's top 5. For me personally, I think he's top 5. I would rank him at 5. I would put him right there at 5, just because again, what he did with a franchise that at a certain point was just not it. And the production that he was able to put up was phenomenal. I mean, you look at 2006 through 2014, every single one of those years was 1,000-yard season, other than 2010, where he only played 11 games, but still put up 853 yards. I mean, this guy was productive year in, year out. It really did not matter, even towards the end. Even towards the end in 2020 with the New York Jets. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember Frank Gore? Frank Gore beat out a prime Le'Veon Bell. A prime Le'Veon Bell. Like, what are we talking about? Frank Gore beat out a prime Le'Veon Bell who got paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to go play football for the New York Jets. What did Frank Gore do? He said, I am the inconvenient truth. It doesn't matter that I'm 85 years old. Doesn't matter that I'm 85 years old. I am the inconvenient truth, Le'Veon. Sit your young little butt down because let me show you how a grown man runs a football. So you got to put respect on this guy's name. Frank just put up numbers. That's literally all he did. I mean, when we talk about career, this dude put up 16,000 rushing yards on the dot. On the dot. That type of production coming from the running back position with the guy who does not have an ACL in his body. Dude blew out both ACLs in college, comes into the NFL, and is the longevity here is phenomenal. Now, you could look at a lot of running backs and you could say, oh, that running back's more talented than Frank Gore. That running back's more talented than Frank Gore. That running back, you can absolutely go down the list. Say, oh, probably LT was probably supremely, a little bit more talented than Frank Gore, just from a pure talent standpoint. But we understand there's more that goes into playing football than just talent, availability, how you go about your business, all those types of things. Frank Gore is the ultimate professional, the ultimate football player, the ultimate 49er. So he embodies, everything that it means to be San Francisco, especially again, just what he was able to do in the years where it wasn't good, where everyone knew, oh, number 21 is going to be running that football. And they don't have a quarterback to do anything otherwise. Again, in 2009, let's see, 2009 was this Nolan? I think 2009 was Nolan, right? Nolan was the coach, wearing his suit on the sideline, still put up 1,100 rushing yards. Like, 2010, obviously only played 11 games, but still averaged 4.2 a carry with Singletary. And that was before Aiyuk. That was before Anthony Davis. That was before Jonathan Goodwin. It was just Joe Staley. It's like, oh, there's Joe and there's Frank. So, again, a part of looking at, for me, looking in, this era where 2011, 2012, 2013, these years where the 49ers were winning. Like, yes, we can focus on what he was able to produce, what he was able to do then. But again, running 4.9 with no offensive line, no weapons to speak of, with Nolan calling the shots, like, that's impressive. And then to transition that into the longevity, the production he was able to put up after 30, and we all understand the knock on running backs after 30. It tends to be, you know, headed in the wrong direction. But look, you still got Frank Gore, steady as can be. Now, not it might not be the same output as up here in his glory days, but still, that's pretty solid production. That is still pretty solid production. Um, so I love it. I love Frank. Really, again, I wanted to see the one last ride from Frank Gore. I wanted to see one more go at it with the 49ers. I felt like, how I think it was the 2019 year, the Seattle Seahawks brought Marshawn Lynch back and they had him, in that playoff run. I wanted to see something a little bit like that, but we didn't get it. It's okay. But as we've heard, it does sound like Frank Gore will be retiring as a member of the 49ers, as he has discussed before. But my goodness, it's a bittersweet. It's a bittersweet situation because we all love Frank. We love the tank. This one was from the GOAT, Patrick Willis. He said, "There are many words I could say to describe the type of athlete and teammate you were at the 49ers. I'll keep it simple, though. It was an honor in all forms. You embodied the game, all the best. Inconvenient truth, number 21. Legends, bro. Legends. Absolute legends. So we talked about, do you think, if Frank Gore is a top 5 49er all time? We answered that question. Do you think Frank Gore is a first ballot Hall of Famer? Because I think if you would have asked this question 4 years ago, I think you would have gotten some pushback on it. Maybe like 4 years ago. And again, he didn't even play last season. So really, like, without those like 3-4 years left, I think you would get some pushback. But now, do you think now you get any pushback on Frank Gore being a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't think so. I don't think so. So far, Jesse says 1,000%. That's like 1,000,000,000% first ballot. Renee says yes. Ben says Canton 2026 when he should be first eligible, I believe. Boomer says first ballot 100%. Oh, this don't take me down this path. Don't bring up my Greg Roman PTSD, please. We're trying to keep it happy. Trying to remember the good times. We're trying to remember the good time. Oh, we got some spice right away. Anthony says, not first ballot unless you're a biased fan, but he absolutely should get in sooner or after. Why do you have to be a biased 49er fan to think that the third highest total rushing yards by a running back ever in the history of the NFL that has been going on for over 100 years, that has been predominantly a run first league as until the last about 5-6 years, to then say you're biased because the guy who's put up the third most rushing yards in NFL history uh, shouldn't be first ballot? That's interesting. Feel free to explain more about this if you'd care to, but your opinions are welcome here, and we do want to know your thought process. We got another one. He shouldn't. So there's two that don't think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Jesse Wade says most games played in NFL history as a running back after 2 major injuries to his knee in college. 100%. We got a yes, yes, yes. First ballot, no doubt about it. A ballot. No doubt about it. Didn't mean to do that. First ballot, easy. Easily first ballot. Numbers speak for themselves. Needs a gold jacket for sure. Let's get Roger. Let's get both of them in at the same time. Can we induct Frank Gore and Roger Craig in at the same time? I think that would be fire. I think that would be fire. Let's see. If T.O. didn't get in first ballot, then I don't think first ballot means much. Gore all day. Not first ballot, only because these Hall of Fame voters often stand on weird principles. That is true. That is true. There is interesting biases that goes into voting, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I think most of us would agree he should be first ballot. If not, he will be a Hall of Famer. Um, if it takes second ballot, whatever. It is what it is. But I think we all agree that Frank Gore will be enshrined into Canton when it's all said and done. He will be a guy that when you look back and it's all said and done, he will have a bust in Canton, and he will be immortalized not only in the NFL's Hall of Fame, he will be immortalized with the San Francisco 49ers. We have heard reports that they are planning on retiring his jersey as well. Um, so I think that would be a great honor by the 49ers to retire the number 21 Frank Gore jersey. I might have to buy a Gore. I might have to buy a Gore along with that Rice. So, hey, I know my fandom has been questioned quite a bit because I don't own a Jerry Rice jersey, and rightfully so. Hey, I question my own fandom now. Like, oh, I don't have a Jerry Rice jersey. Am I a fan? I don't know, but I might need to add Frank Gore to that list of jerseys to get because again, Gore is a legend. He grew up in my era, so I feel very connected to Frank. I feel like Frank is my running back. Frank is my San Francisco 40. I watched Garrison Hurst as a young kid growing up. Some of my earliest memories of watching the San Francisco 49ers was watching Garrison Hurst and Charlie Garner and those types of guys at running back. But my running back is Frank Gore. So shout out Frank, man. You can't even. How am I a fan? How can I even be considered a fan at this point? I don't have a Jerry Rice jersey. I I don't have a Gore jersey. What is wrong with me? This guy doesn't have a Jerry Rice jersey? Why am I even here? That's a good question, Jason. How could you even listen to a word I say if I don't have a Jerry Rice jersey behind me? What in the world? Exactly. How does this even work? Am I a fan? Oh goodness. James says, I don't buy jerseys and I wish somebody would tell me I'm not a fan. I gotta see these hands. Hey James, that's pretty much how I felt when I had some random come in here and tell me I wasn't a fan because I had a Trent Williams jersey and not a Jerry Rice jersey. So hey, I feel you on that one. What's good, Luke? He said, my dude just wanted to hop in and say hi. I got my son Temper sleeping on me right now, so can't really listen, just showing love, giving a like. Appreciate you, Luke. Being a good pops. We see you. We see you. Uh just I do have a Willis jersey. The Willis jersey was the first jersey I ever purchased as a young buck using my own hard-earned money. I do have a Willis jersey. That I do have. I do have that. But I also have a Mike Iupati jersey. Who amongst us has a Mike Iupati jersey? I don't think there's going to be too many. I would love to connect with my former or all my Mike Iupati jersey owners. because I don't see too many of them being around. So hey, we'll see. We'll see about that. Um, so anyways, again, just wanted to show love for Frank, what he meant for the career here with the San Francisco 49ers, because the dude is freaking just goated. He's goated. We know it. He's just a great. I do. I have a Maurice Jones-Drew teal Jaguars jersey. Where is that, by the way? And I don't have a Gore. I got problems, man. I got to get my priorities straight. I have to prove to you guys that I'm a real fan. I have to prove to you that I'm a real fan. I have to. But I might do that again by getting not only a Jerry Rice jersey, but a Frank Gore jersey. I think I might have to get the 21. Might have to. Might have to. So anyways, shout out Frank. Frank is a dang legend. I mean, he is the epitome of what it is to be a San Francisco 49er. One of my favorite things about Frank Gore, while we're kind of waxing poetic on Frank, is my favorite thing is how other players talk about him. Like, and not just like the talent. They don't talk when you hear other teammates talk about Frank Gore, they don't talk about him from a talent standpoint. They don't talk about Frank like, oh, he was the fastest running back we had ever seen. He was like had the best cuts we had ever seen. Like, no, they talk about him as a teammate. They talk about him as a person who just loves football. And I think those kinds of things, because again, I tell you guys all the time, I am a big fan of, the human element of football. So when I see other players talk about Frank and just talk about who he is as a guy on the field, um, I love it. I love hearing about the leader that he is. I love hearing about all that stuff. Uh, to the fans with hands, SDS Gingers, True She. Shout out Luke. Shout out Luke. We see you. But yeah. So I'm bittersweet. Bittersweet. But we love Frank. We love Frank. I think we all agree with that. But I'll turn it over to you guys. What do you guys want to talk about now? I just wanted to get on here, show Frank some love. Frank is a legend. I hope he sticks around with the 49ers. I hope he can help, in some capacity. Again, he said that he has a passion for evaluating talent. Hey, me too, Frank. So hopefully they can get him in the front office. Would love to see that. Oh, there's no way you guys want to talk about Brian Burns. There's no way. You guys are just baiting me at this point. There's no way you want to talk about Brian Burns. You guys just want to see spicy sourdough go off on a Brian Burns rant. That's what that is. That's what that is. That is what that is. Let's see. Hendrick said, did vacation end early? I haven't gone yet. I leave on Wednesday. So Wednesday, I will be out of here. Let's go. Wednesday, I will be out of here until the following Wednesday. So I will be back. I will be gone for an entire week, and I'm super excited about it. Will I get I will still get a Brian. I will eventually buy a Brian Burns jersey, even if he doesn't come to the 49ers. So just so we're clear. Just so we're clear, I am probably buying a Brian Burns jersey even if he's not a San Francisco 49er. Just saying. And I made that proclamation before he was drafted. I said that before he was drafted. I said, "Oh, we're gonna do it." Talk about anything but Subway Man. Oh my gosh. God damn it. You guys are ridiculous. You guys are ridiculous. Taking a trip with Jimmy G. Yes. Yes, of course. Okay, okay, okay. I like this question. Justin E says, Brad, if Breesy Hall is sitting there at 61, you thinking about taking him? So I've had this thought process multiple times, and it's not only just with Breesy either. It's with Kenneth Walker as well, the Michigan State running back, because I think there's a good chance that both of those guys are going to be available at 61. And I have thought about it 100%. Um, and so I think of it like this. I think of it like this. You look at the current state of the San Francisco 49ers running back room. Um, like I love Elijah. I love Elijah. But when you look at like how the 49ers were able to like get big plays, were able to be successful, things like that, out of the kind of backfield, it was when they took Deebo Samuel and they put him at running back. I don't think Deebo Samuel is going to be wanting to play that way next year, especially if the San Francisco 49ers even hint at paying him like running back money, like at all. Like if any of these if him playing running back last year somehow comes up in contract negotiations of paying him less, and like there's somehow a correlation between like, hey, you produced a lot out of the running back last year. We kind of want to pay you like a hybrid, hybrid wide receiver running back. He'll be like, I'm never taking a snap out of the backfield again if you're going to really hold this against me. Now, I'm not saying that is happening, not saying that will happen. I'm just saying a big reason why the 49ers were able to be successful in the running game last year was out of pure necessity, out of having to stick Deebo Samuel, who's supposed to be your number one wide receiver, and turning him into a running back. I don't think they wanted to do that. I don't think it was a for the team kind of a situation, especially with Deebo doing that. But I don't think you go into a year like, okay, we're going to get Deebo Samuel, 35% of his snaps are going to come out of the running back position. I don't think like they're going into this year like hoping to play Deebo as a running back because, as you know, running backs, and when you're running the football, you're going to take more wear and tear on your body. And it would, I think, be a lot more beneficial to the San Francisco 49ers to have dedicated running backs. And if you want to use Deebo Samuel for 2, 3 wrinkle plays a game, okay, let's do that. But to like go into a year like we're gonna have Deebo Samuel as one of our rotational running backs, I don't think they want to do that. So going back to this question, Breesy Hall sitting there at 61. Am I thinking about it? 100% I'm thinking about it because I'm looking at the running back room as it stands right now. Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, Jeff Wilson, Jamichael Hasty. Um, don't feel totally don't feel totally in love and or confident with that because this is a run first team. This team is predicated on you running. And because you're an effective running team, what happens as a result? You're getting the linebackers cheating. You're getting the safeties coming up. You that's the whole point is you get these defenses to bite on the run and you counter off of it, whether you're running literal counters, you're running play action boot, whatever. The whole point is to get these guys shifted into a direction and then you eat off them. So this is a run first team. This is a run first team with a pretty light running back room. So again, I think a lot of people think about like Deebo as like, oh, we got Deebo. We stick him in the backfield. I don't think they want to do that. I think, they would use it as a wrinkle and they would use it as an option, but not like the necessity that it was last year. So I do think this could be a potential. We saw the San Francisco 49ers trade up to get Trey Sermon. I think they are trying to find that kind of guy. Now it looks like Elijah Mitchell turned out to be that back for them in the 6th round. However, we understand it's an RB but running back by committee. We've been targeting James Cook later, like in the 3rd round. But if a Breece Hall or a Kenneth Walker do become available, I'm having a thought process. We're having a conversation. We're seeing how they stack on our board. Now, if there's going to be an edge or a safety that rank higher on our board than Hall and Walker, then yeah, we're probably going to kick running back down down towards the back, because I think you can find some, rotational type running backs later where you're not having to spend such high draft capital early. But let's say all my edge rushers that I wanted and slotted at 61 are gone, and maybe the safeties that I want, they're gone, then this is absolutely a conversation that we're having and we're talking about. Like, does this make sense? Like, we have a path for Elijah, Trey Sermon, little TBD. What do we want with our 3rd down running back situation? So again, it depends for me on how the board plays out, but absolutely, I think about it. I would absolutely think about it. As you can see, I could talk about it for like another 10 minutes if I wanted to. Let's see. I'm gonna try and catch up on some of the super chats. Anthony O says Frank should be first ballot. Just saying, guys had to wait in the past who should have gotten in. As a 49er fan, I want him in. Just thinking as a non-Niner fan. I think, like I said, I think like 4 years ago, if you're having this conversation, I think it would lean towards him not being first ballot. But again, people are driven highly off statistics, and the fact that he's number 3 overall in the entire NFL in rushing, under greats, under Hall of Famer, or above current Hall of Famers, above current first ballot Hall of Famers. That's enough of an argument where you can see these guys that have like immensely less production than Frank Gore and see how they're first ballot. Well, the fact that this guy who is top 3 in production at a position, we might, and then they look at the context. What kind of teams was he on? Oh, like historically not great teams. So he shouldered a lot of I think you can make the case now that he's going to be first ballot. And I feel like people would fall in line. Cash says you better get a Brian Burns jersey. It's on the list. It's been on the list. It's been on the list. That's since 20. Was that the 2018 draft? 2019 draft. 2018 draft. It's been on. He's getting a Brian Burns jersey has been on the list, and it has not removed off the list. Let's see. Javier says, any chances we see Aiyuk getting more catches with Trey leading the whole? He better. It honestly feels like the person who will benefit the most from Trey Lance starting is going to be Brandon Aiyuk. Again, you look at the type of route runner that Brandon is. You look at you look at the tape. Brandon is always running deep routes. He is always running deep routes. Like now, not to say he doesn't run short to intermediate or anything like that, but when it comes to having Deebo on the field, George Kittle on the field, Jawan Jennings and Brandon Aiyuk, like say that's kind of what the personnel grouping looks like. More often than not, Brandon Aiyuk is running a deep breaking route to again affect the safeties. And guess what we saw last year? When Brandon Aiyuk was running those deep routes, the safeties did not care. The safeties were like, I ain't gonna throw it to him. Safeties did not care. Safeties could care less about what Brandon was doing because what was Brandon doing? He was running deep. He was running deep routes, either again running like straight up go routes or nine routes, or he was running outside the numbers to the sideline. No one cared. De- Defensive coordinators will tell you every week on tape they don't care because we know why. Because it was literally the off chance that Jimmy would throw that. Like it was few and far in between. Like you'd maybe get one attempt a game, if that. So that's why we always saw safeties squatting over the middle. Always. They were squatting on all the in breaking routes. They did not care about anything past 15 yards deep. And you saw it week in, week out. You saw a frustrated Brandon Aiyuk week in, week out, just dejected body language after dejected body language after touchdown shot missed time after time after time. So, if there's anyone who's going to benefit from Trey Lance and the arm strength that he brings, it's going to be Brandon Aiyuk. So, we know Brandon Aiyuk has the ability to get open. That's not Brandon's problem. Brandon's problem is not getting open. It's really not catching the football. And I think if you had to say anything, it was more about, effort than anything else. And I think they corrected that and they got to the bottom of it. And they were able to continue to move forward. And we saw him get better throughout the year as a result. However, he has so much untapped potential because for the simple fact he wasn't targeted, like consistently not targeted. I could probably go through every offensive game and put together like a 6 or 7 minute highlight reel of of Brandon Aiyuk busting free and not getting targeted and him just looking pissed. I cannot tell you how many times you see Brandon Aiyuk streaking deep across the field, dusted his dude, and just he's like he does one of these like, are you kidding me? Like, what am I doing here? Like, that's what it felt like. And so, of course, you have to be a professional and you can't let that affect you. And if that's what they're asking you to do, even though you know the likelihood of you getting the ball is going to be small, you still have to sell it. You still have to try to get them to bite on the deep pass, but defenses did not care. So I think that will be the biggest difference. And Ayuk will be the one who will benefit the most. Because go to the Texans game. Go to the Texans game. Now, Deebo had great production, but who did Lance target and try to fit the ball into even when he wasn't open? Brandon Ayuk. So, and they're working out right now. they're going to continue to work out all off season. Kind of feels like they're kind of bonded in the sense of being the young kids that, got treated like young kids and, really had to earn that respect from the old heads in the building and, wasn't as easy of a path. Maybe that them working together through that could translate into even better chemistry. Um, so I imagine the chemistry between those two is going to be fantastic. Again, they've been through the fire together. They went through the fire together, and that means a lot in this type of sport. You know, I talk about continuity all the time. I talk about, the human element. When you go through adversity like that with someone else and you can lean on each other and then you can both get out of it at the same time, that's dangerous in regards to just a continuity standpoint. James says, take a safety at 61 or IL. I imagine that's IOL, interior offensive lineman. Wait, or IL, and get Pierre Strong in the fourth. I think IL's offensive line. I think. I have no problems taking safety in the second. I don't. But the hope is that I think based on how the board stacks, so this is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see if it's going to be a run on edge players. Okay, or interior offensive lineman. I got you, James. So safety or interior offensive lineman. It's going to be fascinating to watch how the board plays out because there's so many good edge rushers in this class. I would not be shocked to just see a freaking run on edges go. And that could, the 49ers could find themselves in a position where they miss out on like that tier 2 crop of starting caliber edge that could push more valuable safeties down the board. Where if that happens, then I think you could make that play. Maybe they're not sold on Diamador at nickel. Maybe they're not. Maybe they see 61 as being a ripe choice to get a starting caliber nickel, whether that's Petrie, whether that's a Marcus Jones. Maybe they're like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to take someone right here that can plug in and play, be a starting nickel, projected starting nickel right away. So it's going to be interesting because we've talked about this too quite a bit. Is that we also do believe that the 49ers are going to be drafting on need because of the kind of quiet free agency period they've had. So we would imagine they're going to be supplementing the draft selections for players who could come in and potentially be an impact right away. So slot corner could maybe be there at 61 because in my opinion, based on rankings and like positional value, I would imagine starting caliber, top tier nickels could be going in that range between 30 and 60. I don't necessarily see teams jump up to draft nickel cornerbacks early. So those types of players tend to slide a little bit. So if that's a Petrie, if that's a Marcus Jones out of Houston, then maybe they see, best player available and it fits a need because you could get interior offensive line later. We've talked about that quite a bit. We could go out on a limb and take who we think best available at interior offensive lineman, or you could do the Brad model, and the Brad model tells you every single year, like clockwork, you will be able to find a legitimate, like I'm talking Pro Bowl caliber interior offensive lineman in the third round, like clockwork. Every year, it happens every year. I feel like I've seen it for 10 years in a row. You can go out and spend heavy and get the premier interior offensive lineman in the class. You can do that. Or or you can wait until the third or fourth round, in which every single class has top, you know, again, you guys know my boy Quinn Miners. He was damn near a fourth round pick. Guarantee. I mean, I'm going to go out and say I still believe Quinn Miners was a better prospect, or is proven to be better up until this point than Banks. But hey, we still have to see what Banks is. So we've seen the 49ers go out on a limb, take best interior offensive lineman according to their board with Aaron Banks. And we still a little bit TBD there. So in that regard, again, I have no problems punting interior offensive line until third round, because I can still grab you a Donovan West in the third or fourth round, and he will be a great player who can start in this league. Um, as opposed to maybe a Cole Strange who's gotten a lot of hype. Um, you can go about it in a bunch of different ways, in my opinion. Um, and Pierre Strong, the running back from South Dakota. I think he's from South Dakota, not North Dakota. South Dakota. Pierre Strong, not bad. If you get Pierre Strong and kind of, again, I'm a big Rashad White guy, ASU running back. If you get me a Rashad White or like a Pierre Strong type in the fourth, I'm happy with that too. So again, it's about matching value and need and trying to make that puzzle work, because again, we can grab one player here, but we can get weaker at a certain position if we opt to go that route, if that makes sense. So it's all about playing the board, trying to play the value game as best you can. Um Anthony O says, kind of wish Deebo chose to work out with Trey and BA. Deebo he does his own thing, man. He's always been that way. He's always just been like, I'm gonna do my own thing. So I don't it would be cool to see them working out together, but at the same time, I really don't think Deebo went and worked out with Jimmy too much. Um I think last time Deebo worked out with Jimmy in the offseason, he broke his foot. So there really hasn't been a ton of offseason of them working out together. Or when that was Jimmy and Deebo. So I don't know. We'll see. Uh, we'll see. Not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, you do like to see those guys build in the off season always. It's nothing like off season continuity. We have the king of the Sean Jolly train, Justin, says really like Sean Jolly and Fayon. Ooh, that my brain doesn't like that first name. Fayon Hicks at nickel later on. Hicks ran a 4.38 at his pro day, 21 solo tackles, and 8 PBUs in 21. Now, I haven't seen Hicks. I have seen Jolly, courtesy of Justin. Again, I've only seen a handful of clips of Jolly, but what I have seen from Jolly, You can see he is a physical specimen. He does come downhill with tenacity. And again, baseline first impression, not too bad. Not too bad. But I'm also excited. Again, we can't put it past the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe two guys like this become, potentially uh, you know, priority free agents, undrafted free agents. Um, so and the 49ers have done well in that boat. They really have. They really have. Look at Emmanuel Mosley, probably the shining star of the undrafted free agent class. Again, he's a starting cornerback on our team. He was undrafted. You look at Jeff Wilson, he was undrafted. So they've had some success in that realm. So would be interested to see. And again, if the 49ers do draft or sign Sean Jolly, this man gets all the credit because he spoke it into existence. If this happens and the 49ers get Sean Jolly, it's because Justin spoke it into existence. So 100%. 100%. Um let's see, what else do we got? Dylan said, "Oh my god, a meme just happened. My stream lagged and it paused on a funny ass face." Bro, I got faces. This is made to be a meme. 100%. Um so yeah, man. It's starting to get that time though. Where it's officially April. The month the the draft happens this month. Oh boy, the draft happens this month. Let's go. I'm very excited. Very, 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 very excited to see who the 49ers select because I don't think the 49ers are going to be sitting there at 61. I don't think so. Oh, we didn't even talk about it. Uh the Eagles made a trade today before we got on here. Eagles and the Saints. That was interesting trade that they made. Very interesting. Jason says, Brad, will you stream on draft day? Of course. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be a lunatic like last year where like Jordan and I literally streamed the entire draft. I don't think I'm going to be a lunatic like that where literally we are on stream for every pick. That was wild because we were on here for we were on here for like 6 hours. So I don't think I'm going to be a lunatic like that. So how I imagine it goes, I'll have to I'll have to think about it. I'll have to think about it, but I imagine we'll see. We'll see cuz I know some of you guys are draft degenerates just like I am and you would sit on the stream with me for the entire time. Uh but we'll see. We will see. I got to figure out how I'm going to schedule everything, I guess, and kind of time everything out. But yes, we will be going live for the draft, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. Um, so plenty of draft content for sure. For sure. Ooh, see B Law's calling for a draft day trade for Jimmy. This is what I am praying for. Like I've talked about it. I've moved my goalpost to the draft. If the 49ers don't get something done with Jimmy Garoppolo by the draft or after the draft, I will be like actually like starting to, you know, get concerned about the Jimmy thing. because I feel like it's much more likely that a team moves for the potential of Jimmy Garoppolo once we know where quarterbacks are getting drafted, once teams miss out on potential rookies that they wanted to get, once they've done the research to be able to understand, hey, listen, we scouted all these quarterbacks, and let's say, hey, Panthers picking at number 6. The Panthers are picking at number 6, right? Like maybe they do the research and they're like, listen, Malik Willis isn't good enough to take at 6 because if we take him at 6, we're getting our asses fired because it's going to take him 3 years to develop. We don't have 3 years to develop. So maybe a team like the Panthers, stick to their board, go best player available, and they're like, you know what? We need to win though. What about Jimmy? Jimmy knows how to win. And again, people think that because the Panthers would trade for Jimmy doesn't mean they still wouldn't draft a rookie. See, that's you got to galaxy brain this. If you trade for Jimmy and let's say the Panthers get draft capital and Jimmy, they get Jimmy and they get picks from the 49ers because we get my boy BB. But let's just say BB or no BB. Let's say we get a trade done. We send Jimmy Garoppolo. We send picks. The Panthers are still picking in that 6th slot in the 2nd round. So theoretically, the Panthers could go out, trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, get a winner, a veteran, and a strong locker room presence to come in. You get him on the roster. Okay, you give up Brian Burns, maybe. Okay, maybe they give up Brian Burns. But they take Thibodeau 6th overall. Okay, well, we give up Brian Burns, but we drafted Thibodeau 6th overall. Okay. We get Jimmy. Okay, that might work. But, Jimmy might not be the long-term answer. Okay. Take a quarterback in the 2nd round. Guess what Jimmy's really good at? Helping young quarterbacks develop behind him. So now your Panthers, your galaxy branding this. Okay, we get Jimmy. We get picks. We could draft the quarterback to sit behind Jimmy and learn from him for at least a year, maybe 2. Just saying, you replenish BB with Thibodeau. You can even draft more edge. Don't let me into a draft room ever. Do not let me into a front office meeting or a conversation. Do not let me get on the board where we got assets and you let me talk to another team about assets. Because if I want something from another team, I will exhaust every freaking option to get what I want, but also make it beneficial, make it make sense for the other team. I will make Jimmy Garoppolo make sense for the Panthers to the point where they're like, it kind of makes sense. We could draft Jimmy. We could get Jimmy. We could send BB, but we could get more picks. We could draft a rookie quarterback still, and we could still replenish edge by getting Thibodeau. Just saying. Call me, Panthers. Let's talk. Let's talk. Shout out James. Shout out to everyone who said a super chat today. Appreciate you guys. I'm headed on vacation, so I could use all the super chats I can get. I'll tell you. I will tell you. So this is gonna be the first time I'm taking my family of 5. I got 3 kids, of course, a wife, and we're getting on a plane and traveling. Woo! Let me tell you, we appreciate your super chats. Oh boy. Let me tell you, we appreciate your super chats because I got to do something nice for the family. They know I've been grinding my tail off, and they're like, "We never see you. All you do is work." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. All right, let's go on vacation." Then you look at the bill, you're like, "Oh, what? How much do I have to pay for my 2-year-old to get a flight? What? Okay." So, hey, we appreciate your super chats. We appreciate your super chats. Let's go. We do. James says Jimmy could get traded during training camp when players always get injured. I agree. Absolutely. But that is a hope and see move where the draft, if he gets traded in the draft, it's because it was a move that was designed and like fabricated by both sides, not a reactionary like, "Oh crap, we just lost a quarterback and now we need to get Jimmy." Because then you're going to be in a game of chicken yet again where a team is going to say, "Listen, if you really carry Jimmy onto your week 1 roster, you're really going to pay him 27 million guaranteed? You going to do that? Okay, go for it." And then I think they just wait and see, because if they can't get something done at the draft, which I think there will be a viability, teams are looking to make moves. Teams are looking to wheel and deal. And we've seen it. We've seen it now. The Jets, or not the Jets, the Eagles and the Saints made a trade today. The Eagles made a trade today, and the Saints made a draft day trade today. So teams are going to be moving. So if it doesn't get done at or after the draft, I'm starting to be like, oh boy. Like now the waiting game really kicks in. Now it's like, oh God. That means we're going into OTAs, mini camp with Jimmy on the roster. He won't be on the field, but he'll be on the roster. Then if they get into training camp, oh, because you're not gonna let Jimmy Garoppolo take snaps. Are you? What if Jimmy tears his ACL? What if Jimmy tears his ACL sneezing during training camp? That means you have no backup and he's getting paid 27 million. That's a risk I don't think they would take. So if he doesn't get moved by the draft and this is what it comes down to, ooh, not a good place to be. Not a good place to be, because teams are just going to be like, carry him on your roster then. Like, good luck. Good luck with your $27 million backup. Good luck. We know how toxic your fan base is. We know how toxic that is. Good luck. Good luck dealing with that. So, again, to me, it's the draft. If it's not the draft, get ready, because I'm extremely nervous. Extremely, extremely, extremely nervous. Shout out, James. Appreciate you, my boy. But yeah, I hope it gets done. I hope it gets done. And I think the issue like that you run into with this is any chance Jimmy restructures his contract due to low interest, you're just pushing money back, which would kind of guarantee his place. So that's the tough part. You restructure him, it kind of feels like you're guaranteeing that he's going to be here for 2022 and beyond, and then you're back in the same cycle in 2023. And the way these two camps have been playing the game, I don't see that. I couldn't see like Jimmy's camp agreeing to restructure. I couldn't see the 49ers wanting to restructure, because that means they would be in bed for minimum one more year. So and you're just kind of pushing the problem back. Oh, jeez. I, I hope not, dude. Oh boy, I hope not. I hope not. Football is supposed to be our escape from stress. This is supposed to stress us out more. Oh my god, that would be awful. That would be awful. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen. But at this point, they could do anything. At this point, they could do anything. What's good, Sean? Aloha, my brother. So we'll see. But I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope the Panthers get desperate. It's crystal clear the Panthers are desperate. If you are following, like you know me, I'm following what the Panthers are doing for a reason, because I want BB. So I'm like, am I crazy, or is there a potential shot, maybe, that the 49ers could get BB? So I'm watching. I'm watching how they're talking about the draft. I'm watching how they're talking about the quarterback. Oh, I'm paying attention to the Panthers. I'm paying attention to their front office, what they're saying, how they're saying it. They seem desperate to me. So the Panthers seem they're more desperate than the 49ers, much more desperate. Um, they actually the Panthers came out and said they don't want Baker. Then Baker came out and said he didn't want the Panthers. So I think that's legit. I don't think they want anything to do with each other. So right now though, that's the problem is when you have a like a one horse race between the Panthers and the 49ers, it's literally the Spider-Man meme where they're just pointing at each other. They're just like, you make a move first. No, you. No, you. No, you. It's what it feels like. It just, the Panthers, the 49ers, there's a natural fit and need for both of them, but it doesn't feel like either one of them wants to really budge in either direction. I think the 49ers also understand the desperation that the Panthers have. The Panthers have been desperate for a quarterback for a while now, to the point where Matt Rule's probably going to get fired if they can't figure it out. GM's probably going to get fired if they can't figure it out. So, feels like a waiting game. Feels like a waiting game. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Interesting question, Hendricks. What would I grade the offseason so far? Well, this grade is heavily weighted by the Jimmy Garoppolo situation. So, if you had to grade it based on that, I'm like C minus. C, because Charvarius Ward, I like that signing. So I they got one good. They got a starter. That's good. They got a starter. They lost Lakin. They lost DJ. Two starters. Um, I like the depth that they signed. I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree. I like all the I like Burks. I like Odom. I like Hassan Ridgeway. I like the bringing back of Jeff Wilson and guys like Jawan Jennings will be back eventually. I like the guys that they're retaining. So maybe C minus is a little harsh, but it is C minus for me, I think, or C, just because of the Jimmy situation. It's the Jimmy situation that is made it difficult. The Jimmy situation, it's unprecedented. I can't think of, I'm not only a fan of the 49ers, I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of the NFL. I have a lot of interests outside of football just than the 49ers. The 49ers is the perk of, football. I tell people all the time, like, listen, I'm a fan of football, like the sport of football. I'm a fan of football before I'm a fan of the 49ers. The reason I'm a fan of the 49ers is because I'm a fan of football. So I pay attention and all that stuff. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before. I'm not sure I've ever seen a quarterback and a team like officially break up and then be stuck together. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. Um, I'm not sure that's it. I, I, in the 10 years that I've been, following football the way I have, I can't look back, other than like, there have been plenty of toxic situations, but a situation where they're like, okay, we're done and we're gonna facilitate a trade, and then the player gets surgery and kills his trade market and then is stuck on the team. Like, I've seen Cap do it. I saw Cap do numbers on the 49ers front office. He killed a trade to Denver. He got off-season surgery that got him 14 million guaranteed. I saw him not be able to get onto the roster until they tore up his contract and then he started that next week. I've seen it. I've seen shenanigans. We've seen it with our own team. But this way of like, oh no, we're agreeing to go separate ways. The player getting surgery to kill his market at the end, like, this is wild. So the gym, and I don't necessarily fault that on the 49ers. It's a fact of the matter. Fact of the matter. He's still here. He's still here. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. So we'll see. We will see. But let's see. I'm gonna get out of here before I stay on here too long. If you do want to find out, if you do want to listen to more of me speak, um, I'm actually going on to John Chapman's pod at 3:30. So if you guys, SDS want to come over and vibe with your boy, I'm going to be going on to John Chapman's channel for the first time. Say what's up to Johnny Boy. I think we're going to talk a lot about offensive line for the most part. And of course, a lot of other things. But I will be over there in half an hour. And yes. So, yes, this month is wild for me. And I will tell you even more about why this month is wild for me. But this is a wild month. I got a lot of stuff going on this month. So clearly, I'm not going to have any player interviews while I'm on vacation. And I got to see after that because this is a wild ass month. But I will clue you guys in a little bit more why that is, but with some time. So, like I said, I will be over on Chapman's channel in about 30 minutes. I don't have a link, but I'm sure you guys all know who Chapman is. Just hop on over there. John Chapman, I believe, is his channel name. Let me double check that real quick. Hold on. Let me double check. Let me make sure I'm properly juicing the man's channel up. Yeah, John Chapman, name of the channel. Go shoot him a sub. Why not? He's almost a 10K. get the boy to 10K. I'll be over there in about 30 minutes. So I appreciate you guys. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow. And then I'm on vacation. And we don't know what's going on after that. But I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. And I will see you tomorrow for a regularly scheduled live before I go on to vacation. I appreciate all you guys who are always vibing with me, tapping in with me. Smash that like button on your way out. Flood Chapman's channel with SDS. Let's go. We'll see you guys out there representing for the squad. Shout out to everyone who sent me super chats today. Shout out to everyone who engaged. Was a vibe in the chat. We appreciate all of you. Again, you don't have to just send super chats. You got a vibe in the chat. It means a lot to us, and we really do appreciate it. So see you guys in a little bit. John Chapman,